MCR Wonder Wide Collection.
Can you speak in Tamil?
நல்லா தெரியும். நீங்க கேளுங்க, பேச முடியும். நான் ஒரு 6 வருஷம், இந்த 30 வருஷமுக்குள்ளே ஒரு 6 வருஷம்.
Many things that Parai is meant for death.
அப்படியா? அவ்வளவுதானா? இல்ல, நான் படிக்கும்போது ஒரு 35 அடி. Whether it was Kalyanam, Savu, Valikapu, right? For every ritual, there's an adi. In Tamil called Kochai. Keka mudiyadu, right? Even we say untouchability, thoda mudiyadu. But if 80% of the people still live in villages, Grami Esai, they're not listening to Carnatic music. See,
even non-Dalits are playing Parai.
Right. But see, I don't see Dalit as a caste identity. Aita gapanare sagalateyum pettavare enga sami unavanangi sentamil patta padichom.
You learnt Mridangam also.
I did.
Why you are so interested in Parai?
Because it makes me dance.
நக்கீரன் நேயர்களுக்கு வணக்கம். இன்று சிறப்பு நேர்காணலில் நாம் சந்திக்க இருக்கும் சிறப்பு விருந்தினர் அமெரிக்காவில் பிறந்து இசையில் PhD வரை படித்து தன்னுடைய 22வது வயதில் இந்தியாவுக்கு வந்து தமிழ் நாட்டுப்புற கலைகளில் ஆராய்ச்சிகள் செய்து ஒரு புத்தகம் எழுதியிருக்கிற, தொடர்ந்து நாட்டுப்புற கலைகளில் பயணிக்கிற பேராசிரியை Zoe Sherinian. வணக்கம்.
வணக்கம். ரொம்ப வணக்கம்.
Happy to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
So you have done research work on Tamil folk music.
Correct.
And you are well playing the instrument Parai.
Correct. Right.
How you are interested in the Parai instrument and what is the intention to learn Parai?
I was first introduced to the Parai by Theophilus Apavu. They also call him Paratai. And he was a professor at Tamil Nadu Theological Seminary, Tamil Nadu Iriyal Kalori in Madurai. And I actually wrote a book about him. He was my teacher, my guru. And he used to use the Parai in the Christian service, right? Mostly in TTS, but in also other places as well. And I've been playing drums, stick drums, since I was a very young child, right? We play Western drums like this. And the technique for Parai is very similar, right? You just go from this to this. So I was very attracted to this instrument and I wanted to learn how to play it. But I was also attracted to the Dalit movement, and I knew that the drum had become an icon of the Dalit liberation movement in Tamil Nadu. And so I was interested in those political issues as well.
Why you came to India? What is the reason?
The first reason, my first interest was in college. I took some classes and I heard a concert actually of Carnatic music of a man who eventually became my teacher, T. Vishwanathan. He's the brother of Bala Saraswati and also my Mridangam teacher, Sri Ramnad Raghavan. I saw a concert of them when I was 18 years old. Carnatic music, and I was so attracted to them. In US, okay. At my college, Oberlin College, and I saw the Mridangam. Hearing that Mridangam, it's so complicated and so interesting, and the solkatu with it. I wanted to learn to play that instrument. So from age 18, and I took some classes in Indian music and various things, but I had to focus on my Western percussion studies at that point. But then I received a fellowship called the Oberlin Shansi Memorial Fellowship, which is a 2-year program, exchange program with Lady Doak College in Madurai. And so that brought me here to Madurai for 2 years, 1985 to 87. At that point I studied Mridangam and Patta. I studied with Sri Shankar Shivan, as well as Sri Kamala Ramamurthy. She was my vocal teacher. And so I studied with them, and that gave, I also studied Tamil. So I got a very strong 2 years experience, intensive, and really, love for Tamil. My Tamil teacher taught us Tamil Varha. So we became very, so many friends, and just my whole life became...
Can you speak in Tamil?
Nalla theriyum. நீங்க கேளுங்க பேச முடியும் நான் ஒரு 6 வருஷம் இந்த 30 வருஷமுக்குள்ளே ஒரு 6 வருஷம் மதுரை பக்கம் தங்கியிருந்தேன் ஆராய்ச்சி செஞ்சேன் இசை படித்தேன் இன்னும் படிக்கிறேன் அப்புறம் PhD ஆராய்ச்சி செஞ்சேன்.
What is your opinion about Indian music and folk music? Is there any difference?
Right. Well, it's interesting that you ask it that way because it's as if is folk music Indian music, right? Or do we only think of Carnatic music, Hindustani music as Indian music? I mean, the nationalist program was to propagate, to put out that our music is classical music. Okay, yes, but the majority of Indian people patronize and play and listen to folk music and Bollywood, right? Or Tamil cinema, right? But if 80% of the people still live in villages, what music are they using? Lok Geet, Grami Isai, Liye. They're not listening to Carnatic music, right? What percentage of the people in India are patrons, go to concerts of Carnatic music or Hindustani music? Very small percentage, right? So the most important point is this, is that, and actually as a teacher in America, when I teach a course called Music of South Asia, so which music should I teach? I should teach all the musics, right? As much, very comprehensive. I shouldn't just teach Carnatic music or Hindustani music or both, right? I should teach devotional music, as film music. There's lots of wonderful
Everything is
text.
music.
Everything is the music, right? We should teach all of it because we're teaching about all the people and their lives, the meaning that the music has to them. So, but the main point is this: what I see in India, like there's a hierarchy of people, both caste and class. There's also a hierarchy of musical value, right? So the music that's valued the most is also the music of the high caste people. The music that's valued the lowest, the least, right? Often in Tamil called kochai, keka mudiyadu, right? Even we say untouchability, toru mudiyadu. Also, we can't hear this music. Keka kudadu, keka mudiyadu, right? So the value of folk music. So one of my missions, my purpose in my work, in my academic work, is to raise the value of folk music, the respect. The fact
you learnt Mridangam also.
I did.
You learnt Carnatic music.
Amma.
And why you are so interested in Parai?
Because it makes me dance.
Okay.
Kekumbodu, I don't know.
Here for the instrument Parai, there is a caste identity.
Correct.
You know that?
Yeah, no,
You are aware of
I've
that?
studied that. That's what this film is about.
How do you feel about that?
Well, okay, so the really beautiful thing is that the value of this instrument, just even in 5 years, 10 years, is changing. It's developing. It's raising, right? That's amazing. It's this amazing movement, and I'm actually trying to document it, right? As a researcher, I'm trying to document this movement. The value of this is raising both here in Tamil Nadu and in US, UK, these places.
நீங்க எல்லாரும் வாசிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்காங்க.
And I think that's and I agree with the ideology of people like Manimaran, who's the leader, director of Budar Kalaikuru, and as well as Sister Chandra, who's the director of Shakti Kalaikuru in Dindigul. They both agree that everyone should be able to play this instrument, and I also agree, because if everyone plays it, then it also won't have that stigma of untouchability. And we as middle caste, upper caste people take up this drum, they also need to learn the history. They need to learn the context in the village. Okay, so because things are shifting. So this is what I see.
It's a good thing, la?
Which one?
Upper class people
Playing
like to play Parai.
Arasari. That's a good thing, right? But they, in the process of learning, they need to learn the history, right? In other words, they need to learn the original context, because now there's a big change happening. You're putting the drum on the stage as entertainment. The purpose is changing. Before, the purpose was around ritual contexts, right? Whether it was Kalyanam, Savu, Valekapu, right? First menses, or some child is getting their ear pierced.
Kadani vida.
Right. All of these things. For every ritual, there's an adi. You play when the bulls are running. right? What's the town? Alanganallur,
Alanganallur.
right? They play Matu Pongal. It's a particular beat, right? For a wedding, they play Temangu. Jenja nakudi 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 jenja அந்த மாதிரி. For Savu, there's 3 different patterns. So every ritual context. So in the process of transmission, we need to respect that knowledge. We need to recognize that knowledge. And also we need to give those people an opportunity to teach. Those traditional artists, we need to, at least, their children, at least they should be the ones. They've been playing for 30, 40 years. They should be the ones to be teaching. We shouldn't have some person come, oh, I'm studying for 3, 4 years, so now I can become a teacher. Some middle caste guy who can
It's again you're putting the instrument in another caste identity.
Okay, so I don't see
even non-Dalits are playing Parai.
Right. But see, I don't see Dalit as a caste identity. Dalit is an anti-caste term. It's an anti-caste. It means oppressed people. So what's the word in Tamil for oppressed?
Odukapatta,
right? So who falls into that category? It's not just the outcast people, the untouchable people. It's also women, it's poor people, right? It's LGBTQ people. Yeah? All those people, if we expand it to the world, it's black people, African American people, anybody who's really experienced oppression. Right? They all fall under the larger umbrella of Dalit. Okay,
now the time is changing. Everybody likes to play Parai. But for some time, even though now many things that Parai is meant for death, they play Parai in death and funeral.
அப்படியா அவ்வளோதானா இல்லை நான் படிக்கும்போது ஒரு 35 ஆடி படித்தேன் ஒரு 4 மாதத்தில் உள்ள ஒரு 35 ஆடி only 3 of those rhythmic patterns, those adis, were for Savu. Only 3. 32 of them were for what we call auspicious occasions, ritual occasions. This is the problem in what we call the discourse. In the discourse that Parai is only for Savu. அப்படி சொல்லக்கூடாது. If you really know the tradition, you understand that it's used in so many எப்படி சொல்லலாம் நல்ல நிகழ்ச்சி, right? Auspicious occasions.
சுப நிகழ்ச்சிகள்.
Right. And the thing is that slowly it's a little bit in the village. Mostly what I noticed was it was used for Tiruvila, the annual festival. It was used for in Sapparam.
You said about Buttar Kalaikuru Manimaran. He have a policy that we won't play Parai for death.
Correct.
You agree that?
Well, I think it creates a problem, doesn't it? It creates a problem for those people who want to call the Parai players for the Savu, right? I mean, if they treated them with respect, maybe they would come. If they treated them equally, if they fed them properly, if they allowed them to sit on the veranda when they fed them during the Savu, if they let them sit with all the other people. But even I observed in my research in the village that these people at Savus, they weren't treated properly. If you pay them properly, if you treat them with respect, as any other musician, see, they'll call a Nakkheeran tabla player, right? They treat them with respect. Why don't they treat these guys with respect? So if you want these people to come for your Savu, then treat them with respect.
What are your future plans about Tamil folk music?
Yeah. So I'm writing a second book, an academic book on the Parai. So I'm going to look at the many aspects of it. First, the history. And I want to go back through into Sangam literature and see the word Parai in Sangam literature and try to understand, is it only this shape, right? The word comes in Sangam literature. But does it mean any drum? Does this word Parai refer to any kind of drum? Barrel-shaped drum, or only
Tamil
this
Sanga
shape?
இலக்கியத்துல பறைன்ற வார்த்தை இருக்கு ஆனா இந்த வடிவத்தை தான் சொல்றாங்களா
So we call this drum a frame drum, right? We call this drum a frame drum, like a tambourine or kanjira. They're all frame drums, right? So when we see this word in Tamil Sangam literature, does it mean this drum or any drum? And so I need to look more closely. I need to work with some scholars. Any scholars that really know this, please contact me and help me with this.
So can you sing any song?
Sure. Also challenges casteism within the church, right? And it comes from the perspective of the poor people. Okay, so Tai tagapanare sagalate pettavare Enga sami unavanangi sentamil patta padichom Kasilla mirgitiri konda varala Kasilla mirgitiri konda varala Enga otumaya kani kaye padachom Tai. That's Temangu. Adan Temangu. Jen, Nakudi, Jen, Nakudi, Jen. So, you know that Rahman song, A.R. Rahman, in the film Gentleman. Right? He used this one, right? So it's easy to put these patterns of Parai on the drum set, right? The Western drums, right. Yeah, so that's really fun, and I would like to do that more, right? I'd play it in different contexts, but also, you know, this drum itself, it's, you know, it's loud enough, it's strong enough. I really appreciate, I've just started to get exposure to this group called the Castless Collective.
Yeah.
Right.
Paranjit.
Really.
Paranjit.
Yes.
Know about him?
I'm just seeing their work on YouTube, and I'm really very impressed with them, and I hope to meet them. Just like African drums, djembe, have become so popular all over the world. This drum is next. Adan. Yan nambike.
Thank you
Thank you
for
very
your time.
much.
MCR Wonder White Collection.